As everyone that watches my channel knows, for the last 11 years or so, I go off-roading in my very manly Jeep pretty much every weekend. And this very manly hobby is the entire reason that I got into radios, because I needed a two-way radio so that I could stay in contact with my group when I go off-roading in my very manly Jeep. And now I'm a two-way radio expert. Anyway, mounted in my Jeep, I have a Motorola XTL 5000. I've made an entire video about that high-end 110-watt radio, and I'll put a link in the more information section if you want to watch that video. But when I am out off-roading and I get out of my very, very manly Jeep, whether it be to help guide someone over some big rocks, to hike up to the top of a giant mountain, or just to go pee-pee, I always take a handheld radio with me so that I can stay in contact with the group and keep them updated on my every move. My first radio was a Boofwang BF F8HP, which is the 8-watt version of the Boofwang UV5R. But after a while, I yearned for something more rugged. So for a long time, I used a Motorola XTS 2500. It's waterproof and it is extremely rugged, but as you can see, it's kind of bulky and it's very heavy, and it has a small screen that's hard to read in bright, direct sunlight. So for the last 2 years or so, this has been my GMRS radio of choice that I use every time I go off-roading in my very extremely manly Jeep. The walkie-Talkie 5-watt GMRS radio. It is very light, it's small, it's waterproof, and it comes with this safety umbilical cord so that if it accidentally detaches from my belt or if I drop it whilst adventuring, it won't hit the ground, and it also makes it impossible for me to set it down and accidentally leave it somewhere. But the thing that I don't like about the walkie-Talkie radio is that because it is a GMRS radio, it can't talk on any of the private frequencies that I sometimes use. Those are non-GMRS and non-hams frequencies that my group sometimes uses under the authority and permission slip of my FCC's business license. This radio also cannot talk with hams radios that other off-roading groups sometimes use. But the worst part of this radio is that it costs almost 200 monies, which for many people is just too many monies for one radio. But then a few months ago, Retevis sent me a prototype of their new adventure radio, the RB48 Pro UHF radio. And ever since that day, this has been my new favorite adventure radio that I now take with me every time I go off-roading in my extremely rugged and very manly Jeep, or when I partake in my other very manly hobby, metal detecting. As I mentioned only a moment ago, Retevis sent me one a few months ago to promote it because it's a new model, and I made a full review video of it a week or so ago, so they aren't paying me to make this video, nor do I owe them anything, so no, I'm not just being a shill for Retevis. They don't even know that I'm making this video. My new favorite adventure radio is waterproof, it is drop resistant, it is extremely tough. And it also comes with the same kind of umbilical safety cord that comes with the 5-watt walkie-Talkie radio. And this radio outputs 10 watts. The walkie-Talkie only squirts out 5 watts. It is slightly larger, but that's not a big deal for me, especially considering that it has a much larger battery. And because it is an unlocked UHF radio and not a GMRS radio like the walkie-Talkie, it can still transmit on GMRS frequencies, and I can also put in my private frequencies and even the hams radio's frequencies that some of those other off-roading groups sometimes use. The radio has an adjustable microphone gain, and it has a very good built-in noise cancellation feature. Just look for yourself and see how well it works.
This is a test in a very windy environment with no noise reduction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a test with the noise reduction enabled in a very windy environment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And between the adjustable microphone gain and that noise reduction, this makes it a very good radio to use in a noisy Jeep or when standing on top of a very windy mountain. This radio also has a vibration option so that if I'm outside of my very manly Jeep saving lives and someone calls me on the radio but I can't hear the radio over all of the screaming and wailing, I can feel it when it buzzes my happy spot. And the screen on the Retevis is just as easy, if not more easy, to see in bright, direct sunlight. And even though the menu system sucks on both radios, it is much easier to make changes on the Retevis than it is to do so on the walkie-Talkie radio. Another very important difference is that the walkie-Talkie radio only has a one-way Roger beep. This means that I can hear it, but the people listening over the air at the other end cannot hear it. Whereas the Retevis has a regular two-way Roger beep. That means that I can hear it and the people listening at the other end also get to enjoy the melodic tones of my Roger beep. And the best part is that instead of costing 180 monies like the walkie-Talkie radio, the Retevis only costs 139 monies for two of them. And when you crunch the numbers, that means that one of these radios is only 70 monies. Affiliate link below.